frying.
Oh, look at you doing that thing. Doing that thing you think you're doing. Because we're always doing it. See you, dudes. I'm not going to tell anyone we're live. I can't. We're not Hootsuite. Oh, we're not Hootsuite. Ooh. Hope people know. Because we always go live. 6:30-ish. Well, 6:30. We're just a little hangry late doing this. But we're live. We're going. We're good. You good? You got the news?
Telling Christy we're going live.
You got
the
the news?
news ready.
All right. Let's tell everyone.
Hello! Hi, everybody.
Hello!
Hello! It's the Media Boat Podcast. Hi, we're coming from you. We're coming to you live from California.
With the light. We're kind of dark.
Oh yeah.
Clap
Wait,
on.
That's a thing. That's not a thing.
Clap
I have to
on.
Turn on the light.
All right. Well, while you turn on that light, I'm going to turn on your light by introducing us.
Whoa.
Whoa. I just blew your mind there, didn't I? Because, hey, we are the Media Boat Podcast. We're a podcast about the medias. Not necessarily boats, even though someone is following us for boat-related stuff.
Weird.
Apparently. But this is not a place for boats. This is a place for media. We talk about
Yes.
movies, TV, music, and video games.
Not necessarily in that order.
Oh, no, I did it in that order.
But actually, yes.
Actually, yes, in that order. Because I'm the one who's doing it.
So yeah, we do this. We are live on YouTube right now. If you want to go to YouTube, well, actually, if you're not on YouTube, you're not hearing this. But if you want to watch us live, we are live every Wednesday night at around 6:30. Tonight at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. On YouTube, just search Media Boat Podcast. You'll find our page. You can also like our page, subscribe to our page, click that bell, and you'll get notifications when we go live. It's pretty cool how that works.
Yes, it's also cool when it doesn't work. We have to remind you every week.
It's true. So, yes, Media Boat Podcast, he said it, all of the things that we cover. Let's get rolling right into it. Our first thing that we cover is movies, and we always start movies with the weekend box office numbers.
All right, so we had a little bit of a heated battle going into this weekend.
A little bit. I'm glad you clarified with a little bit because,
There is a king of the box office.
yeah, and it's the king of all monsters as Godzilla, which premiered last week, is your number one movie. It debuted to a solid $47 million. Not up towards the hundreds like the blockbusters that have preceded have had.
No.
So definitely
Okay.
not stellar, but it's decent.
I think this is around a Pikachu's numbers when it came out.
Yeah, I think Pikachu was higher by about $4 million or
So
change.
it's in that ballpark.
But it's in the ballpark, and so yeah, it was like a good base hit, not a home run. So yeah, Godzilla, your number one movie, beating out Aladdin in its second week. Aladdin got cut significantly from its first opening week numbers. Only made $42 million this week. Enough to keep it at number two, though. That's at $185 million domestic, in case you're wondering. Your Elton John biopic, Rocket Man, came in at number three with $25 million.
Say it right.
Biopic, that's how you say it.
I was talking about Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
But yes, the biopic.
Yes, $25 million debut for that. Ma, the horror movie, $18 million debut.
Which doesn't sound good, but it's only a $5 million budget.
So it made money.
So it made money.
And that's your number four. Number five, rounding out, Keanu Reeves returns as John Wick with John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Another $11 million. That's sitting at $125. In case you're wondering, you need your Marvel update.
I need to get my Marvel fix. Ugh.
Avengers Endgame is still in the top 10. It comes in at number 6 with another $8 million, adding to its ridiculous grand total domestically of $815 million.
This is the first week it went under the double million digit mark.
Yeah.
So it's gonna peter out from here on. It's not gonna hit that 900 million like Star Wars did. No. But then again, that was released in December. This is the middle of summer where everything's gonna cannibalize everything every week.
Right. They knew what they were doing. They knew there was gonna be a cutoff, but it did pretty well regardless.
Pretty well.
I mean, yeah. What's the distance between it and Avatar now worldwide? It's like $75 million or something ridiculously small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tight. It's a tight race.
It's going to see if it's going to... I don't know how they're going to do that, though.
Yeah, they might not.
They might not.
They might just settle for right under.
Which is kind of a shame, a pity, for it being the marvelous achievement that it has. But to get so close and yet fall so far, maybe they should have gone for the head.
Ha.
Huh.
Anyway, that's your box office this week. So, if you're wondering about what's next...
What's next week?
There are 2 movies coming out next week, and they're both pretty big. First up, X-Men Dark Phoenix, which, of course, is, I guess, the ending of sorts to this trilogy, this X-Men trilogy that started with First Class.
It's funny you say it's a trilogy, because it's not a trilogy.
One? Oh, I skipped Apocalypse,
You
because
skipped
it
one.
sucks. Okay, so it's the 4th in that series, I guess. The
Yes.
current series of X-Men movies we're working through. But it's kind of retreading some familiar ground. Of course, it tells a similar story that X-Men 3 The Last Stand did over 10 years ago.
Yes.
So yeah, not a whole lot of... Like, there seems to be not a lot of buzz for this because I think people are a little confused.
Well, they're confused because Fox is releasing this. It's a Marvel film, but Disney purchased Fox, so it's Disney's Marvel film?
I don't think your average person knows or cares about that part. I'm solely just saying, like, I think it's confusing because a lot of the audiences are probably like, wait a minute, haven't we seen this movie?
Oh, yes, because, like you said, The Last Stand took that Dark Phoenix story and loosely based that character of Jean Grey during that story around that, during 2006? No, 5? 6?
I feel 07.
I want to say 05.
Maybe it'd been 06. Regardless. I remember seeing that in high school, and I remember the people that I was seeing it with. I was probably a junior, so that would be an 07.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Anyways, so yeah, that thing does not look good. So getting in ahead of the critics next week, I'm going to say probably look forward to some bad reviews, and probably look for this thing to get a very low Rotten Tomatoes score. I am not getting good vibes, so yeah, I think that this thing will not do well.
Well, apparently they had to do a bunch of reshoots.
Yeah.
Because it was similar to a different ending that already came out.
Oops.
To a different Marvel film.
Oops. Well,
Or not necessarily reshoots, but they had to rework the ending.
Well,
So,
we'll see how that worked out.
Let's see if that worked out well.
Next week. And then if you don't want to see X-Men fight on screen and you'd rather see cute animals do things, that is also an option for you, as The Secret Life of Pets 2, a sequel to a movie that I hated, is out for families. So you can see that, I guess.
It's out there for someone. It's out there for the kiddos, for the kids, for the family.
I don't know. It seems like all the trailers, they're trying to evoke the same stuff that the first movie's trailers did. And that was very misleading the first time they did it.
That is, let's tell you nothing about this story
Yeah.
and hope you go see it for the cute characters.
So yeah, it does a good job. The trailers do a good job of like, yeah, look at the cute animals doing cute things while their owners are gone. That is not what the first movie was. So yeah, I think this is probably another bait and switch. The little bit of trailer that I've seen that actually does kind of go into story stuff suggests there's a superhero angle for the Kevin Hart rabbit character.
No. See, he's playing a video game, a fighting video game.
Okay.
And he dresses up as the alter ego, but he's still a rabbit.
Yeah, I don't know. This I can't tell what the hell this movie is because they don't want you to know. Harrison Ford is in it, I guess, as a dog.
I don't know, but I guess Harrison Ford dies because his bandana eventually ends up on the other smaller dog in the other trailer. So he either dies or passes it on.
Spoiler for this movie that's not even out yet. How dare you look at trailers and tell us what's in them? How dare you?
How dare I?
All right. So yeah, 2 movies that are questionable, let's say, that we'll see what happens with next week.
Oh, it's a good start to the June.
It's a great start. This is going to be a weird-ass summer, guys. The weather, the movies, it's all weird. All right.
Speaking of stuff that's weird, our first story is weird.
Movie news. Unless, real quick, you saw movies. Do you want to talk about them now or at the end of the news?
I'll talk about it at the end.
All right. Okay, let's get cooking then. Our first story is about a movie that comes out in a couple weeks, Toy Story 4. That is a big June release, but towards the end of the month. And they announced some big names, some older, classic television names that are involved in the movie.
So, in case you need any more reason to go see this film...
You're going to see this movie. Everybody's going to eventually see Toy Story 4.
Because it's Toy Story and it's Pixar.
Story. They're just like
but
the water of movies. You need them.
I need my Pixar fix. But in case you wanted some more reason to see this, or if you want to drag the older generation in to see this film, I guess that's a better way to put it.
Or people who are aware of names from classic film and television. So yeah, some star power has been added, including comedy legends Mel Brooks, Carol Burnett, Carl Reiner, and Betty White. They've all joined as characters in this movie. Carol Burnett will be a chair named Cheryl Burnett.
Ha!
Yeah. Carl Reiner will be a rhinoceros toy named Carol Rhinoceros.
Ha!
Can't even say the jokes right. Betty White will be a tiger named Bitey White.
Ha!
And Mel Brooks will be an elephant named, get ready for this, brace yourself, Melephant Brooks.
Ha!
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing with the puns here. I feel like this is being shoehorned in for the sake of shoehorning in.
I don't know. Maybe this is cute. I could see them doing some sort of cute thing with this. Maybe it's like they're in a television store or something.
I feel like
somehow to make it relevant that they're referencing these people.
I hope so. I hope it's not, we're going to throw these people in because, hey, we had a pool going around of who couldn't we get.
Oh, yeah.
It turns out we could actually got them.
Got all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, the question is wonder who of all these, like, since they got all these, who do you think they tried to get and couldn't get? Can you imagine? But anyways, so yeah. They've done stunt casting like this in Toy Story movies before, but it's never made the story worse, so I'd say this is fine.
Let's see.
Remember when Michael Keaton was Ken?
Yeah. Or Ed Asner was the bear. But that was like a big part.
Stuff isn't weird.
Those were like significant parts, though.
That's true.
I feel like these seem to be...
Are you telling me that Cheryl Burnett is not going to be a main character in this movie?
I feel like it's going to be a one-note character.
Yeah. Or maybe they're like a special counsel for toys or something. Like maybe they're like, we have to go to these special toys, old toys.
Well, they're in an antique store, so that's where they're going to be.
You're probably right. Oh man, I didn't think about the antique store.
They're going to be in the antique store.
They have to be in the antique store.
Yeah. They'll make some old jokes.
Yeah.
About how old they are.
Yep. Writes itself, really.
Yeah. I'm writing it in my head right now.
All right, let's move on to our next story, which also involves Toy Story 4 a little later. And of course, it's about your favorite subject, distribution in China.
Yes, the big Chinese box office market.
Yes.
That usually, which is why studios tend to make stuff with Chinese influence in them, so they can sneakily make their way into those coveted 10 Chinese slots for distribution.
Yeah, or co-finance. With a Chinese company like
Legendary.
Both.
Yes.
Both work. But yeah, so Chinese film officials have told some local buyers, to steer clear of U.S. movies. One Chinese distributor says he was advised by various platforms not to submit U.S. titles for consideration, while another has heard through unofficial channels that private companies can no longer import U.S. content. U.S. studio sources point out that they are still getting movies into China, though. Sony's Spider-Man Far From Home was recently granted a prime June 28th debut in the country, ahead of its U.S. release.
Mm-hmm.
Other films, such as The Secret Life of Pets 2, which we talked about, and Toy Story 4, which we just talked about, have also received slots. But privately, they acknowledge that storm clouds may be brewing. This is a reaction from... I'm sure if you've been pay attention to the news this month, you knew this was coming. coming from the current presidential administration here in the U.S., putting tariffs, crippling tariffs on the country. So,
Yes.
yeah, this is all part of that China trade war.
Yes. And by all technical standards, movies are an import into China.
Yeah.
They are an American export. So that gets taxed and tariffed on it.
And it's kind of a meeting of two worlds, too, because it's not only the financial stuff, it's also the cultural stuff that China has been railing against for a long time. They've constantly been trying to keep Chinese cultural media valued because all the U.S. stuff is coming in and taking over.
Right. They don't want the significant Western influence invading China, which is why they only limit it to 10 movies a year.
So yeah, it's risky what's happening here, because who knows, if they cut off the Chinese market, that's a huge market for this big blockbuster movies.
It usually accounts for about 20 to 22% of a foreign box office take for a film. And that's a lot.
I mean, yeah, this is interesting. Obviously, this is interesting from an industry point of view. Yeah, there are, some questions about whether it matters, whether these big companies need to make any more money on their big movies. They're already making plenty here.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
this is just kind of this is us seeing the ripples, the continuing ripples of this trade war we're having with China right now because of our administration.
Right, but when you have a film like Suicide Squad or like Transformers, where two-thirds of its box office came from international revenue, and about a quarter of that itself was from China.
Yeah.
Then it's a big deal to all those companies.
Yeah. Sorry, I was messing with the lighting because it's still light outside. It's a bit light, giving us mood lighting right now.
Yeah, we need to add an extra light here, a filter, if you will. Or not a diffuser. Wow, that is stuck.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are stuck, I saw movies. So we get into some thoughts here.
Yeah.
Alright, so I saw Aladdin, because I saw that one first before Rocket Man. So I saw Aladdin. It came out last week. It was tough to get a ticket, so I said, hey, I'll see it when I see it. So I just go see it.
Yeah.
And I've been reading the quote-unquote internet backlash towards Will Smith of this being too much like he's imitating Robin Williams' Genie. And to that, I have to say, the character of the Genie was created specifically for Robin Williams.
Yeah.
So, any interpretation of Disney's Genie is going to have those specific influences in them.
Because that's the character.
Because that's what the character is. So, with that, Will Smith acted circles around everybody in this film.
Oh, well, yeah.
You
expect it. You would hope that he would.
Not only did he have the most to do, but he was also the most charismatic on the screen. I couldn't wait for him to get back on the screen. When he wasn't, I was like, where'd Will Smith go? Bring me back Will Smith. I want to see more Will Smith. Which just goes back to his own star power and his acting ability. With all that pushed aside, I was fine with this film. I had no major qualms with it.
Okay.
I do kind of have a qualm with what Disney's doing with all of these, not remakes or reimaginings, but retooling of their classic animated features. Because I want to label this the hindsight renaissance.
Yeah, because I what I've heard is that they do a similar thing that they did with Beauty and the Beast. Live action adaptation, where it's pretty much identical except for a subplot that they added.
Well, a subplot that they added, some different background stuff they added. They made Agrabah a port city because that's how it's getting all its imports and exports and being such a successful city, not smack dab in the middle of the desert where no one can find it.
Right. Because that would make sense for the royal family to be as successful. Yeah, I get it.
Right. They also added a backstory to Jasmine's mother and how their at peace with their allies, and Jafar actually has a motive to want to be sultan
instead of just being
evil for evil's sake.
Yeah.
Which this happened with, like I said, the Beauty and the Beast.
This is what they did with the whole Beast's dad thing.
Right. That's what they did with Cinderella and Maleficent.
It's a formula that works for them.
Right.
For remaking these movies.
Well, because it's less a remake and more we're going to fix these mistakes that people have been pointing out for the past 20 years.
Or at least
since the internet.
Make it so it's not a talking point as much as it used to be.
Yeah.
Because, that's how I definitely took the Beauty and the Beast stuff. Is alright, they're trying to be well, no, the Beast is doing this for a reason kind of stuff.
Yeah. I feel like this is more of Disney's family cleanup as it's now more prevalent in internet and people have more access to this stuff.
Well,
and can
it's a combination of that. I think also it's a combination of putting out a new thing for a younger generation. I think there's a little bit of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Being hey, we understand that kids are not seeing traditional animation anymore.
Yep.
Television animation for kids is pretty much completely CG now too. So it's here's something that they can understand and a visual medium they can understand. But of course, then there's also the cynical reading, which I'm sure you've seen this. The cynical reading is that because effects houses are non-union, these movies are a lot cheaper to make, and that's the real reason why Disney can't go back to the well. Is Disney makes more money, just pure money as a corporation, on live actions with CG elements than they do on completely CG movies or traditionally animated movies. So it makes sense to resurrect old things in the cheapest way possible.
Oh, you mean like a business?
Like a business.
Oh, if only Disney wasn't a business.
Dude, I wish, right? Anyway.
Oh, that mouse. Anyways, this is a fine film. Aladdin is one of my favorite animated films from the Disney classics.
Yeah. It's one of the better ones.
It's one of the better ones. I bought it on when the Diamond Edition came out because I love that film. But this version I enjoyed. This is definitely a summer film. Take your kids to see this movie. You won't be disappointed as an adult watching this. I wasn't. You may groan at Jasmine's solo. If anything, for the fact that it seems very forced, and it's very much her Frozen moment.
Kind of helps.
And by Frozen moment, I mean it's the Let It Go version of this movie, where they're giving her something to do. Besides,
good. She needed something to do.
Besides already giving her something to do.
Yeah.
But I like this film. I like what they did with it. I like the changes they made. All the hindsight remakes. It makes the story flow better and makes it a lot better for this generation.
Okay.
Or for... Basically, like I said, it's like they're fixing their mistakes. Or it's like the hindsight.
Yeah. They've had time.
It's the Redux version.
It's interesting, but the big question, of course, is it necessary?
Is it necessary?
Do you think it's necessary? Or would you, if you were a parent, would you rather show them the original? Or would you show them this thing? Of course, I'm imagining in a world where you can, so of course you could do both.
Why can't I do both?
Double feature, why not?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, ultimately, do you think this is a necessary thing that they're doing to these movies? Do you think there's a reason? Or do you think this is a cash grab?
I think it's partially a cash grab and partially trying to appease this generation of parents who are more susceptible to instilling better values to their kids.
Sure. There's an element to that.
With that being said, I'm still going to show my kids the animated version.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm going to have Disney Plus for them and just put that on.
Yeah.
But anyways, I saw a second film.
You did?
Yes.
All right, what's the other
Pat and Mutable Scale. Go see it.
Go see it? Okay.
Yeah.
I will not, but thank you for the advice.
Yes.
All right, what's the other movie you saw?
The other movie I saw is Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Yes, Rocket Man. I forget what the lyrics are.
I've heard good things.
Which is weird. You say that.
Yeah.
Because I also have heard good things.
Uh-huh. Is that not your experience?
Well, I went with my doctor and my friend.
Uh-huh.
And my friend walked out and was like, I hated that film.
Wow.
That was not what I wanted.
Wow.
To which I immediately asked,
Yeah, what did you want?
no, is it because you wanted more of a Bohemian Rhapsody, like, biopic, where they tell the story? He's like, yeah, that's what I wanted. Cool. He's not dead yet. But when that movie does come around in another 20 years, you'll probably like that. However, since Elton John is also producer on this thing, I like what they did with it. It was half biopic, half musical, half musical with like song and dance elements, and half fantasy elements, visual effects done. Make that, you get 150% film.
Adds up.
Stir well, add X
You did
ingredient.
You did the math.
I did the monster math. So it works. I like the film because it works. It has the hits, which is you need. You need the hits.
Oh yeah, you can't do this movie without the Elton John song.
No, and it does. Oh, that's also why he was mad, because it didn't have the Lion King songs in it.
Why would they do the Lion King's ones? It's about a certain part of his career, not into 1994.
No, it actually stopped at the 90s.
Of course it does. Yes. Why did it go on? That's like when you get into the 90s, you get into kind of like the
post.
His like veteran career, part of his career.
Right. You get the
like,
post
the biggest
drugs,
things in the world.
Yeah. I mean, this story is about from Elton John's childhood, how he got into music, and then his career from being a 19-year-old piano player to taking all the drugs and alcohol known to man, and then realizing as you do, and then realizing, oh, I realized what I was searching for. I don't want to like spoil it, but I feel like I should.
I mean, this is based on a real person, so I guess you can.
I'll spoil it because a lot of the spoilers have to do with the themes of the movie, and I love the themes of this film.
Yeah.
Matthew Vaughn helped produce this, and I can see his imprints on this thing all over it, and I love him for it.
Oh, well, yeah, you're a big Matthew Vaughn, #1 Matthew Vaughn fanboy.
Woo! I'm not afraid to show it. But yeah, Taron Egerton plays a really good Elton John in this film. Bryce Dallas Howard, which I didn't know was in this film until I read the credits.
Did not either.
Like, absolutely blows my mind in this film. Like, realizing, oh wait, that's her? Wow, she did a really good job in this film. But those are the two standouts of this film, because there's also the two main lead characters.
That would make sense.
But yeah, Taron Egerton does... So, the director does this weird thing where part of it is, like, sung in a studio, and you can tell that it's ADR, and some of it is, like, sung as they're filming it.
Yeah. It's
a good mixture of both of those elements throughout the film. It's a good mixture of, we need to do a stop song and dance, and then we're going to do an Elton John song because it helps move the story while not necessarily, like, doing the hits. But what really, like, sold me on this film was right in the middle, they basically said, like, Elton John's going on this big, huge 90-day world tour. And the cuts in that thing were so fast, the changes were so quick, the costume changes were so unique that you could tell, like, oh my god, I'm running through this thing just like he's running through this thing. And so when we come out of it on the other side, it's like, yeah, I felt like you skipped a week, because I felt like I skipped a week watching that. And I can, like, visually see and like, feel, as I'm watching it, feel like, yes, I'm on this journey with Elton John, and I can see that this is not only detrimental to your health, but how this can happen to a rock star.
Yeah.
To someone who is of that high profile. But going back to, anyways, to the themes of this film, it's about breaking down Elton John. Because it starts with him coming in his big costume bombastic, but as the story progresses, he slowly takes off the costume, slowly breaks down, till you catch up to present day, where it's just him being a disheveled of a man. And then it basically, like, just basically explains everything that happened. I didn't quite like that it did that.
Yeah, I read not a review, but like article talking about the movie, and they said they were like, "Yeah, it's a little bit too on the nose of a metaphor."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, it sounds like it."
Yeah, it did that. It got to the point where like it caught to present day, and like Elton John was like a broken down of a man in rehab, and it was like, yeah.
Or sorry, present day.
Present day of
Whatever
the film.
present day of the movie is.
Present day of the movie is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
Oh, he's absolutely fine now.
Oh yeah, he's still alive.
He's going on his last tour.
Yes, the film actually mentions that he's on tour right now.
That's funny.
Which is both a nice wink and nod, and also not going to play what's the thing, like his DVD shells that he's wrapped up touring.
We have friends that are going to go to his stop down here.
Yes. I may
we will
join
hear
them.
Personal accounts.
I may join them, depending on tickets.
Right, I forgot, yeah.
Yeah, depending on tickets, because if this is his last tour, as he says, I bet he would put on a good show, seeing what I've seen. It's definitely a good film if you're not going to see his show. It's a little too on the head at points, but it does it such a nice way to where I forgive everything about it.
It sounds like this is the opposite. If this was a food, it'd be the culinary opposite of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
Where it's like they're both trying to discuss the life of a famous person in music. Mm-hmm. But it feels like they're going at it so differently, like two completely different ways, and that's why one of them totally botched it and one of them succeeds.
Well, it's also weird because their careers were literally during the same time period.
There's a lot of crossover there.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting thing to look at and be like, these things were happening at the same time.
For those of you worried about the homophobic gay elements in the film, don't be. It's 2019. But it didn't do it so much in a way to where it was putting off like, okay, why are we doing this again? We all know that he's gay, but why are we retreading this? Because
it's part of his life.
It's part of his life.
Show.
Well, yes, that's what I'm getting to. That it's part of his life. This is part of him growing and accepting who he is, accepting the type of person he is, and the type of lifestyle he chose, and choosing to make a difference, choosing to make that change to not only better himself as a person, but better his career for it.
And to promote it normalcy to the world.
Yes.
Using his, stature. So yeah, you have to talk about that stuff because that is Elton John.
Right. It's a part of...
Same way where that was Freddie Mercury. And, depending on whether you believe that film did a good job about that part or not, Yeah. It's like there's two men that's very much part of their identity.
Yeah. With all that being said, I really liked this film.
Okay, cool.
I would definitely see it again if it's on streaming.
Cool.
I don't know if I'd pay another ticket to see it, but if it's on HBO or Netflix or something, I'll definitely turn it on because I enjoyed what I saw. It was a good film. So yes, I would see it again. This is a go see it.
All right.
On the Beer Boat scale. So that's 2 go see it.
Wow, good week. Good week out of nowhere too.
Yeah, especially if you want to see something this week, go see one of those movies.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now I didn't expect Rocketman to be higher on my list than Aladdin, but here we are.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on then from movies into the world of television, and we always start television with sports.
All right.
As you know, a big sport event that's happening at the moment of speaking right now are the NBA Finals. We are still in the finals here. Toronto, the Raptors, Drake's own, against the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
And yeah, we're currently in, this is the third game.
Third game.
So third game, they're currently tied. The series is tied 1-1, but currently, as I'm speaking, they're at the end of the second here with Toronto 60.
They're at halftime.
They're at halftime here.
Into the second, halftime.
I don't know things about basketball.
It's a sports thing.
You're a sports thing.
I am a sports thing.
Yes, you are.
Moving on.
Anyways.
So
yes. Toronto's ahead at the moment, but it's a close game.
Yes. That's a best out of 7 series, so we have ways to go.
All right. That's basketball. Yep. Also, in sports, the hockey is happening. The Stanley Cup Finals are tied 2-2.
Yes, the Blues won one game on the road. and 1 game at home. That series is split, and that is some exciting hockey to watch. The Blues are playing Smash Mouth hockey against the Boston Bruins, and it is fun.
Yeah.
I was worried about this series, thinking Boston would just sweep it, but no. The Blues are putting up one hell of a fight, and it's making it so much more interesting.
I would hope. Elsewhere in the pros, before we move on to other things, Women's World Cup
Yes.
officially starts Friday.
Yes, it does.
France versus South Korea is the first game, but yes, our U.S. women will appear after that sometime.
Yes, the World Cup is taking place in France, which is why France is one of the first teams playing.
Makes sense.
This is the group stages, so this will take place a month. It will end July 7th, I believe, in France. But World Cup is happening. It's here. Root for the women's national team.
Cool. Great. Speaking of women, moving down to college sports, the UCLA women's softball team has won the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
And congratulations to them.
Yes, congratulations on women winning the D1 NCAA softball. Meanwhile, UCLA men's baseball team is ranked number 1.
Great.
Going into the baseball College World Series.
Cool. That's cool. So we'll have updates for what happens to that. Then lastly in sports, kind of a pseudo-sport here, spelling bees.
Hey, it's a sport. They train. There's competitions.
It's fair. But yeah, the Scripps National Spelling Bee happened this past week. It concluded with a record 8 co-champions. Yes, you heard that right. No single person won.
Yes.
8 kids.
Yes. Do you know what the previous record was?
2?
Yes.
Wow.
That was
there's
last
only
year.
ever been a tie.
Last year was the first ever tie. This year was an 8-way tie.
So
It's not that they ran out of words in the dictionary. It's that they only set 20 rounds because they go from, I think they said like 10 a.m. till they were at, I think, like 9 p.m. So like 8 or 9 p.m.
Basically, they had to stop at some point.
Yeah.
And so, the last 5 rounds had 48 straight correct words spelled.
Yeah.
The kids could not be eliminated.
Yes, that's the last 5 rounds were all perfect. Also, it's funny, one of the contestants was, as soon as she heard the word, she went, "Oh my god, please, give me the definition, I beg of you, please." Because she knew it.
Yeah.
But, you have to, you don't have to go through the whole thing, but
you might as well.
You might as well, because you have the time.
Whatever can help you may help you.
Yes. I was like, okay, I was like watching this, like all 8 of them go up one by one. I was like, come on, don't mess up. Don't be the one. Don't be the one. And they all got it right. I was like, ugh. Also, there was a lot more German words this year than normal.
You wouldn't think there'd be a lot, but here we are.
Yeah. Anyways, holy.
This is incredibly distracting.
It is very distracting.
All right. So anything else in sports before we move on out of sports that aren't miniature golf?
That's not miniature golf sports?
No, that's not apparently ABC's Holy Moly, which premieres Thursday, June 20th, which is apparently a game where no, these weren't celebrities. Like, people play mini golf and get Wipeout style.
It's like Wipeout, but mini golf where they have to follow the ball through the course.
That was the first time I'd seen that.
Holy moly.
Holy moly. All right, anything else in sports before we move on? Television news.
No, I just want to make sure people know that the Women's World Cup is this weekend.
Yes, we mentioned that.
Yeah. That was the last thing I added.
All right, let's move on then. Our first television story is an update of sorts about the situation in Georgia. Last week we talked about, or 2 weeks ago I think.
Like the beginning of the month.
Yeah, beginning of the month we, or I guess last month.
Yeah, beginning of May.
We talked about the abortion bill in Georgia having rippling effects for studios that are having their productions there. This for film and television. So we're finally getting more news about more companies that have joined the cause of threatening to leave the state if the ban is to take effect.
And the only reason we're reporting on this is because these are the big hitters that are finally making news.
This is good so far. Netflix, Disney, and AMC's The Walking Dead, which has been filming in Georgia since it was inception, right?
For the past 10 years.
Yeah. So a lot of business there. Have all expressed concern about filming in the state should the bill take effect on January 1st. Disney CEO Bob Iger expressed his concern, stating, quote, "I think many people who work for us will not want to work there. I don't see how it's practical for us to continue to shoot there." The bill was voted on last year and the governor signed it in early May of this year. So yeah, the effects speak for themselves. People who are in the business are concerned about people who both are working and the audiences who watch this content being like, no, I don't want any part of this. Like, it doesn't make any sense to shoot somewhere where half of your staff is going to walk out on you.
Right. They are also hoping that this goes to the courts and gets shot down in the courts.
As it should.
As it should, but we live in weird times now.
We do live in weird times. Federally, though, there is precedent for this not to fly. But that's federally.
This is a state law.
Who the hell can know if there's enough, like I mentioned when we brought this story up the first time, like there's enough political power here on the right where they could make a movement towards getting Roe versus Wade overturned. It could happen. We live in a world where that's a possibility, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll have updates, of course, for you if we hear from more companies bailing out or if something changes with the bill and people can continue shooting there. Because the tax incentives are good for the industry and the business is good for the state. So it's kind of a no-brainer for them to keep these jobs in their state if they weren't, so hell-bent on removing people's rights.
For some reason. I don't know. But anyways, the fact that these big players are stepping up and saying they will pull out of the state of Georgia, which they bring in alone hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue to local businesses in the state of Georgia, could be enough to persuade some people to, I don't know, grease the wheels of a money train away from this. Or we just find a new state. What's Florida doing?
Yeah, right.
Cross that Florida-Georgia line.
That's another thing. No, don't bring them into it. All right, moving on to a more fun story. Hey, do you like a Jurassic Park?
I like a Jurassic World.
Do you like both?
Yes. I'm a fan of both.
You're a fan of both? Speaking of a Jurassic World, this is not 2019 news, but I did finally see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Like on purpose?
Yeah. I didn't hate it. I thought it did some interesting things.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It is.
It was kind of a neat movie. It's not really a Jurassic Park movie, but I think that's on purpose.
It is.
It felt to me like they were trying to Last Jedi Jurassic Park before Last Jedi was a thing. Like, it got that, I had that vibe from it where they were like, yeah, we're just ready to throw out everything that this series is and try something new and then reestablish how it's going to work from here on out.
No, that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I thought it was neat.
It was a horror movie.
I think it starts terribly. I think the first act is awful, and all the stuff on the original island is like really sucky. But as soon as it converts to that horror movie,
the horror
and
in the house,
being in the mansion, it's good. Like, I liked a lot of that movie. Anyway, sorry, it has nothing to do with this podcast. But anyways, Jurassic Park.
That was a part of movie thoughts,
I guess technically. But yeah, just a real brief update there. Jurassic World, though, is getting an animated series on Netflix.
What?
It will be called Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous in 2020. It will be put on Netflix, and it takes place at the same time as the first Jurassic World. It centers on a bunch of teens at an adventure camp who will, unless there are some terrible creative decisions at play, have to survive the threat of dinosaurs.
Wait. Threat of dinosaurs on the Jurassic Park island?
In Jurassic World,
In Jurassic World?
Yes.
What a concept.
What a concept. So yes, producers, of course, will be Jurassic Park director and franchise producer Steven Spielberg, because of course. And
I think he has to be tied to anything Jurassic Park related.
Yes, and Jurassic World director Colin Trevorrow, who
was also a producer on Fallen Kingdom.
Producer on Fallen Kingdom. So yeah, this comes on the heels of Netflix also announcing an animated show about Magic the Gathering from none other than Avengers friends Anthony and Joe Russo.
Yes. That's actually the main story, but I buried that because Magic the
I'd
Gathering.
rather watch the Jurassic World one
Exactly.
than the Magic one.
That's what I was my thinking too.
Yeah, that sounds like a way better show, and I'm down. Magic, I could care less. Also, from my understanding, is the Magic thing is an anime. So,
it said
pass.
animated.
But I saw it was using some anime talent
Oh, okay.
for this thing. They're trying to Castlevania it,
Okay.
from my understanding. Anyways, so yeah, those two things, new animated big franchises coming to Netflix. That's
Very
exciting.
cool. Very exciting.
Cool. All right, that's it for television news. Do you have any television thoughts to talk about? You have down here that you watched some more Chernobyl.
Yes. So on Monday, Jeopardy lost its champion, and it was a total meltdown.
Yeah. We gotta talk about that real quick. James Holzhauer had his final day. He made over $2 million.
He was $60,000 shy of passing Ken Jennings' record.
He was also like 20 games shy of Ken Jennings' games record as well, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But yeah, still a pretty good run.
Yes. They ran statistics, and that like out of 100 games, he would lose 3. And oddly enough, he lost on his 33rd game.
Yeah.
So
odds had it. And from what I've heard, I haven't watched this because I'm pretty behind. I'm like a month behind. I'm in the teacher tournament now.
okay.
But yeah, I haven't watched this one. But what I've understood is that he was just bested. The person that he was up against played a perfect game.
The person he was up against wrote her master's thesis
Yeah, I saw that.
on Jeopardy.
Yeah, it's like you can't really fight that.
No, you can't really fight that. Also, it didn't help that she got, well, one, the first clue he picked was the Daily Double. So
Uh-huh.
he could only get $1,000 off
So
of
yeah,
it.
he had started off on the wrong foot.
And then for the Daily Doubles, she got both of them.
And
got it
that's
both
always
right.
his tactic.
Yes, is you get the Daily Doubles and you bet big. when
Both
you
in
have
double,
money.
yeah, and he bets huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't work for him here, which is why he lost. But still, an incredible run. Now we just have to wait to get him and Ken and Bugsy all on the same stage.
Bugsy.
Bugsy,
Buzzy.
all on the same stage to
And, what's his name?
John Ritter.
No, the dude.
Ken Jennings.
No, the other dude. The guy who made all the money, who won the super tournament thing.
John
Okay.
Krasinski.
No. Never mind.
Ah,
The dude. Yeah, I
yes.
forget his name.
Exactly.
Anyways. Cool.
Anyways,
Now Chernobyl.
yes.
What I was trying to set you up to talk about.
So, yes, on Monday, as I said, I was watching a meltdown, and that was Jeopardy. But I said last week I was going to watch Barry.
You chose to watch a meltdown.
I chose to watch a meltdown. But last week I said I was going to watch Barry for this week coming up. I was going to watch Barry, but then I only had so much time, so I decided to watch the 4-episode miniseries Chernobyl.
Yeah.
The 5-episode miniseries Chernobyl. I was not ready for that.
No, here it's a little heavy.
Oh, heavy. Heavy is putting it lightly.
You can quote us on that one.
Oh my gosh. I was not ready for Chernobyl. Like, I sat there and watched it and just awestruck that, one, not only were they filming this, 2, this actually happened. And 3, like, at the conclusion of it, it was just, like, like, gut punching and total emotion driving, ripping me to shreds. Like, why? And then I remember that it's Russia because it constantly reminds you that you're in Russia because Chernobyl. To the point where I was like, yeah, that would make sense even in today's world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is both, like, eye-opening and frightening at the same time.
It is. It's terrifying.
But I was not ready for it. I was expecting, okay, it's going to be an HBO miniseries. I'm sure it's going to be good. It's going to be well cast. It's going to be well written. But I'm just going to watch it, and then it's just going to wash over me. But no, this thing hit me like a ton of bricks. And that was just for the first 30 minutes. And then every consecutive 30 minutes, I just kept getting hit. until I was buried under the house that Chernobyl built.
Or destroyed. I don't know.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's so well done. I want to watch it again,
Yeah,
but at the same time, I don't want to put myself through
Yeah.
it. But it was so well shot and so well acted. Jared Harris is going to get the Emmy win on that
So
for
this
sure.
is probably going to be one of the things to be in...
Emmy contention.
In, what's the category?
Miniseries, or limited.
Miniseries, which is probably going to go, what, right up against, like...
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror, and right up against... is the Big Little Lies season going to hit for Emmy cutoff?
I don't think that's limited series, because that's a
I thought
show.
It was. No, I thought that competed in miniseries last time.
Is that a miniseries?
I'm pretty sure it competed in miniseries.
But it has seasons, so it's not a series.
It's season 2 of a limited series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever.
so it was Black Mirror. Black Mirror is series. It has seasons.
Technically.
Yeah, see, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know if that'll meet the cutoff, though, because I think the cutoff is, like, this week or something.
Right. I think the
for the
difference-
Emmys.
I think the difference between, like, series and, like, limited is the actual, like, minute time. Or,
Yeah, I think it is. But I feel
Or
like they
episode
maybe
run.
changed that. I think we said some sort of story where they changed the limit.
They changed. No, we talked about them changing the Academy changing its rules.
I thought
not the
there
Emmys.
was an Emmy story too. But,
Maybe there was an Emmy
whatever.
story.
Anyways, doesn't matter. So yeah, Chernobyl. It's dark.
It's
but
dark.
Well made.
It's well made. It's definitely worth a watch. But
All right.
oh, you got to be ready for that.
I'm not ready for that
Ugh.
jelly. All right, let's move on then. I did not watch any new television. So we can continue right on to cancellations and renewals.
Woo!
First up, Disney XD's Spider-Man show is canceled after 3 seasons.
That is Marvel's Spider-Man on
Marvel's
Disney.
Spider-Man.
Disney XD. That's not canceled.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. It got renewed for a 3rd season.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was hoping for cancellation.
Aw.
But we do get one on NBC. Abby's apostrophe S gets canceled after just 1 season on NBC.
It was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
It was. Another one bites the dust.
As it reminded me in front of every episode.
Yeah. NBC has canceled The Enemy Within after 1 season.
Didn't watch
NBC has
that.
also canceled The Village after 1 season.
So all 3 of these were newcomers that were on the bubble,
Yep.
and NBC
bubble
made
popped.
their decision.
Stars is bringing back Vita for a 3rd season. The CW is bringing back Burden of Truth for a 3rd season. But the big news and cancellations is that Silicon Valley indeed will end after its upcoming 6th season. But Silicon Valley fans will be happy to know it's been bumped up. You will no longer have to wait till 2020. You will see it in late this year. So something got moved around, I guess. Some sort of thing on the HBO slate got axed.
It was supposed to be this summer, but then Game of Thrones, so they had to move it to the following year.
But then they decided, hey, we have this empty slot in fall. We can just move it there.
Yep.
All right.
And be done with it to free them up for something else.
So there you go.
I believe it was the Watchmen that got the
Moved.
Watchmen series that got moved
That
because that
makes
got
sense.
pushed back instead.
That makes sense. So they swapped them.
Yeah, well, since Silicon Valley was already shot in the can,
Right.
didn't make sense to make it wait through.
So yeah, the show that we said should have ended, before its 3rd season, finally will be ending at the end of its 6th season.
Yes, they finally got too big.
They got too big to
Too big to fail.
fail.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I don't know. 6 seasons is a success, I'd say.
I'd say.
Yeah.
All right, we move on then into the world of music, and I hand it over to you.
All right. We always start music with the Billboard, and we always start Billboard with the Hot 100. And take a guess at what's number 1.
This is your singles chart.
Yes, your singles
important
chart
to mention. So your number 1 single,
is once again Old Town Road by
got the horses in the back.
with some horses with a mat that's also black. The house that's always bad.
Something like that.
Yes, Old Town Road by
Old
Lil
Town
Nas
Road.
X.
Still, I'm sure everybody saw the video that was going around of Lil Nas X singing Old Town Road in front of a bunch of elementary school kids.
I don't think he was singing to it as much as they were singing it.
At him?
At
Yes,
him.
You're probably right.
He just started it off and they just ran with it.
They
and
know the
literally
song.
ran with it.
They know the song.
They have his hit.
Yeah, it's his hit.
It's his hit.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Bad Guy by Billie Eilish moving up.
Yeah, was nearly number one this week. If it wasn't for the juggernaut that is Old Town Road. Billboard pointed out in its article this week that this is the third week in a row that a song that's been rising the ranks like a bullet has been denied number one.
Oh,
Because of Old Town Road.
Because of Old Town Road.
It's been it blocked Taylor Swift, of course, blocked, and now it's blocked.
It blocked Ed Sheeran, it blocked Jonas Brothers.
Exactly.
Blocked Khalid. Speaking of all these other artists.
Yes. Who else is in the top
number
five
3 is Talk by Khalid.
Yeah.
Number 4 is I Don't Care by Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber.
I don't care either.
And number 5 is Sucker by Jonas Brothers.
Yep. All of the above.
Having listened to that Jonas Brothers Sucker it's catchy.
Fine. It's too derivative of what's that song? The I'm a rebel just for kicks.
The Six and
yeah, whatever the hell that song is. It reminds
Portugal
me
the Man.
Yeah, that Portugal the Man song. It reminds me way too much of that.
You're right.
And so the first time I heard it, I was like, it sounds like that song, and I haven't been able to hear it on its own since.
I gotta add that one back to my playlist.
There you
go. Yeah. Well, before I get to playlists, Billboard 200, your albums charts.
Yeah.
At number 1 is Billie Eilish with When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?
Yep, back up at number 1, I guess thanks to the strength of Bad Guy as a single. It's been heavily on radio the last week, which has brought it back up in the album chart.
I've heard it a lot on the radio, and it's still like,
I still
not
don't
for
get
me.
it. Yeah.
Not for me.
It's catchy though. I've caught myself singing it to myself because it's got a catchy enough chorus, but the actual practice of listening to it, I'm like, this just makes me feel gross.
Number 2 is Father of Assad by DJ Khaled.
Yep.
Number 3 is Igor.
Yep.
By Tyler, the Creator.
Down from number 1 last week.
Number 4 is 43 VA Heartless.
Forever.
It's Forever, yeah.
Yeah.
But 43 Va Heartless by Moneybagg Yo.
Yeah, so what the hell? Like, I was looking at this and I swear, there's at least one artist in this top 5 albums list every week where I'm like, who the hell are they and where did they come from?
This is the Future thing.
Yeah, where it's like, I have no idea who these people are. Like, at first it was like Juice WRLD, and then it was Boogie with the Hoodie, and now it's like freaking this guy, Moneybagg Yo. So I don't know. I hope I don't have to listen to Moneybagg Yo next week.
It's weird that these are like full albums too, and not just singles. Yeah. Anyways, rounding up your top 5 is Free Spirit by Khalid.
Yep, still there.
Still there.
Probably on the strength of the singles.
Maybe.
Because it sucks, as I talked about last week.
Well, going off...
well, what am I listening to this week?
I don't know what you're listening to this week, but here are your new releases.
All right.
We have Avicii with a posthumous album.
Yes.
Titled Tim.
Like his real name.
As in his real name, Tim. I
first.
believe this was that album we were talking about that was... What was it? It's made to benefit his foundation.
It will go to benefit his foundation. But it was music he was planning on releasing.
Yeah, he's planning on releasing.
This year, if he had lived.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was produced by... what was his name?
Oh, yeah, I remember. I was talking about it, but I don't remember the name.
Some, Uber producer, too.
Yeah.
We wanted to finish it.
But, yeah, so this thing's coming out.
Yep. We also have Dinosaur Pile-Up.
I don't know who this is, and it wasn't a bolded name, but I included it because I knew you'd love the band name.
I mean, it's really great on the 5 when I see a Dinosaur Pile-Up. It just always stops traffic.
It's like one of those classic band names where it's like, you just pick 2 random words.
This is what always happens on Jurassic World Island.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a dinosaur pile-up. They're coming up with an album called Celebrity Mansions. It's also a good name for an album.
It's a great name.
We also have Future. Speaking of Future.
Yeah. Future, I guess, has another album this year.
Yeah.
I feel like
I guess we're not done with it.
So I don't know what's going on with this, but yes, it exists.
All right, we have Future with Save Me. It's in all caps.
Yep.
So somebody go and save Future.
Save Future.
We also have Gloria Gaynor
Mhm.
with Testimony.
Yep.
And that Jonas Brothers album is finally out.
It's out.
Jonas Brothers with Happiness Begins. I mean, sure.
Now
Now it does?
When they released
Were
that
you-
record, that's when happiness
Were you
began.
not happy before Under the Mouse? Were you not happy before when you got married?
Happiness is finally beginning.
Maybe this is what happiness is. They found it.
It's happening.
They're a sucker for it.
That
Anyways, that Jonas Brothers album is out. I'll probably give it a listen because I like that song a lot. I am really thinking none of the other songs are going to be like that. But I could be wrong.
who knows?
Who knows? We also have Lust for Youth with a self-titled album, Lust
Yes.
for Youth.
Yep.
Neil Young. Yes, that Neil Young.
Yep.
With Tuscaloosa,
All caps.
all caps. We have Pale Hound with Black Friday.
I'll be checking that out.
Perry Farrell with Kind Heaven. Peter Frampton. Yes, that Peter Frampton.
Yep.
With All Blues. I
wonder
assume this
what
is
genre
an
that is.
opera album. We also have Santana. Yes,
Yes,
that's
Santana.
Santana. Wow, there's a lot of good acts here. I want to go to this concert.
Right.
Yes, Santana with Africa Speak. Also, another big hit up here, Silver Sun Pickups.
Well, depends on who you're talking
Depends on where you figure a hit is. Silver Sun Pickups with Widow's Weeds. And lastly, Yeasayer, or Yasayer.
I think it's Yay Sayer.
Yay
One
Sayer.
variation you didn't say.
Yosayer with Erotic Reruns.
Which is a weird ass name.
Someone's been watching Skinamax.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
sick of these erotic reruns.
I know. Give me that new
Yeah,
one.
when's the season start? Jeez. That's it for new release.
Enough of this writer's strike. Gosh.
Anyway.
Anyways. I do know where this plot's going.
Yeah, who knows? Who can say?
Well,
Alright.
all right. Anyways, we have news, and we start news with the iTunes.
So this is big news, music story of the week. In fact, so big that there are no other music stories this week.
Yes, the big news coming out of Apple is that they have a $999 stand.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
Oh, that's not what we're talking about here.
No, we're talking about iTunes.
Oh, yes. Okay. I just saw Apple and I automatically assumed that's what we're talking about. So, Apple used its Worldwide Developers Conference in San Jose, California, in case you didn't know,
Yeah, you know.
to officially announce its plans to end the Mac version of iTunes. We had been talking about this. It had been hinted at.
Yeah.
People moaned and groaned when they said this. They now have an exit strategy, which is more they can say about Britain.
Ha!
Ha!
Topical jokes.
Two topical jokes.
Anyway.
Anyways, the company will phase out its well-known media application with the introduction of OS X 10.15, codenamed Catalina. That is not an animal.
No,
They
they're
did
done.
animals.
They stopped doing animals.
What?
Yeah, they ran out.
They killed all the
They got their
animals.
snow leopard.
I know, all the big cats.
Yeah, no, they're done.
Anyways, Catalina is expected to be released in September alongside the next version of iOS and their new iPhone. However,
Yeah.
the iTunes brand isn't going away. As Apple has said, the iTunes Store app will remain the place for iOS users to purchase music, while the Windows version of the iTunes application is living on for now.
So yeah, when this news first started dropping, I think a lot of people were very reactionary and started saying, "Oh no, where are my libraries and my playlist going to go? Oh no, what are they doing? My life of music. They're getting rid of hard music. It's just going to be streaming." It was all over the place. The discourse exploded, and really, not much is actually changing here. Let us be a PSA for you. Your music will not go anywhere.
Nope.
One, because it sounds like they're just moving it to a different app called Music.
Called Apple Music.
That will, yes, have more hooks into Apple Music, I think.
Yeah, Apple Music is your streaming,
Yeah.
whereas iTunes will still be your purchasing.
And then it's not being replaced even. Like the brand will still exist. It's like It just won't be presented probably in the same way as it has been. But yeah, nothing will change really except for the name.
No, iTunes will be their Google Play Store.
Yeah, give or take, yeah.
More or less.
It seems like, yeah, it's just, this is a branding probably decision above all. Is that because it probably was confusing people to have two products one called Apple Music and the other called iTunes, be like, where's my music? And for them to say, technically it's in both places, but then having to explain it for 5 minutes?
They're like, you can get your music on iTunes, but you have to pay for it, or you can pay a monthly subscription to use Apple Music, and you'll have it there.
So I guess what I'm basically trying to say is, like, it's not a huge deal as people like want it to be. However, yes, it does mark an end of an era. It does, like,
gonna be 20 years.
Nearly. I mean,
Close
like,
to.
Probably with like a few years after.
Like 17, 18.
18 years. But yeah, it definitely marks a very specific era of music when digital distribution was buying songs for 99 cents a pop. It did change the industry model when it happened, and of course, hand in hand with the iPod, did do a lot to change how people listen to music. That's all true, and yes, this is technically like a point in history where we're going to look back and be like, yeah, this was the death knell for this kind of distribution of music. Because, yeah, I think if the companies get what they want, it's going to be all streaming from here on out. Hopefully that doesn't happen because, of course, there's still value in owning. But we'll see what happens.
Thanks, Napster.
Yeah, this might be don't thank Napster. It's more like thank the big record labels for putting so much money into these streaming services, and the tech companies for encouraging them. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a lot. I love the convenience of streaming. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Spotify premium person and have been for a very long time, and I use it daily. That being said, I really like the idea of having these downloads and being able to purchase this music. It's better for the smaller artists in the long run. So yeah, I hope that the two things can coexist as long as possible before we move into the bleak all streaming future that Apple wants us to.
All streaming all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it's Apple.
Yeah,
it's Apple. Moving on to other music news. Do we have to call this music news?
It's news.
Is this news?
I didn't have any other news stories, so here's what we got.
Well, at least it's a goodwill story. It's our feel-good story of the week.
Feel-good story of the week. Feel-good story of the week.
Yes, if you call Dave Matthews Band a feel-good story.
Yeah, if you do.
I mean, you can do it. I may not, but you can.
That's my Dave Matthews Band impression.
Are you done, David Matthews? All right, well, the Dave Matthews Band has been chosen as a Goodwill Ambassador by the United Nations Environment Program.
Yep.
This is the English version because there's an E at the program.
Yes. For
their environmental advocacy and fan engagement to take care of the planet. Aww.
Yeah, good for them.
This is where you go, aww.
Aw, good for Dave Matthews.
And his band.
You know why? Because he wants to save all those ants that are marching.
Dead ants. That was my rib shot. Since 2005, the rock band... okay, I'm not going to edit that there. The Dave Matthews Band has partnered with the nonprofit organization Reverb on the Bama Green Project, which is an ambitious set of environmental efforts taken on the road, at home, and among their fans.
And at the movies, at home, Raisinets.
Yes, which, for every stop of their band's North American tours, Reverb has helped design a comprehensive sustainability program to lessen their environmental impact. Mm-hmm. This is all jargon. Basically, their plans include using biodiesel for their buses, sourcing local farms for catering, recycling, and composting backstage waste, and funding solar and wind energy projects. So this is Dave Matthews Band doing a lot of good green energy stuff while they're on the road touring helping lower their carbon footprint.
Cool.
Can you tell this is a slow news week?
Yeah, because it is.
Because we're talking about Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah, but that's because all the news happened in our next segment. Before we move on, though, did you listen to any music? Because I did not.
I did listen to music.
Okay, what do we got?
I've been listening to a lot of music this year.
Good.
I kind of like it.
Good. Yeah, it's great.
It's good. So I listened to Thomas Rhett's new album, Center Point Road.
Did you talk about this last week?
Did I talk? No, this came out this past week.
Sure? Because I'm having deja vu.
I talked about this on Saturday.
We talked about... Oh, that's probably
why. I told you it was a long week.
Yeah, it's been a long ass week.
It's been a long ass week.
How is tomorrow only Thursday?
I don't know. I feel like it should be the weekend already.
It should be Friday tomorrow.
I know.
Anyways,
I listened to Thomas Rhett's album, Center Point Road. This has the song "Look What God Gave Her" on it, which is the...
Sorry, that's such a country name. Because it's like, they work in God.
Yes.
But it's also about objectifying a woman.
Yes.
It's like every country song. Sorry, anyways.
So, I like that song. It's on my playlist. So I decided to listen to the album. Oh my gosh.
Also one of those where it's like, well, you got the single.
I got the single, and now I got the rest.
Yeah.
As I did mention to you, I mentioned to my doctor about this. This is... Every song on this sounds like it should be sung by a boy band, which is weird, which isn't that far of a stretch, because he sings over his own voice to create his own, vocal backup.
He tracks his vocals.
Yes. So it sounds like the Thomas Rhetts. Just a band called the Thomas Rhetts. And even all the music in it sounds like it's from a country boy band meshed together to make a summer album that two teens will enjoy.
Yeah, only two.
Okay, I mean, if you want to get into 3 teens,
2 teens.
I don't know. It's your coupley love. It's your couple song. It's your couple album. This is your high school couples album of the summer, 2019.
I can see that
in the country road. There's a lot of love songs on here. There's a lot of objectifying women's country songs, as you want to point out, as they do.
As they do.
The songs are not bad. I'm just putting this in its own little box and saying that this is clearly for first time loves. This is clearly for the younger crowd generation. Mm-hmm. Because outside of this song, I understood where he was going with every other song. I just didn't necessarily like every other song.
Yeah.
But it's a fine album. He's definitely playing to his audience here of the teen country crowd.
Yeah.
Because I went to his concert, and one of my buddies who I went with looked over a girl and said, "Hey, look at her. Do you think she's cute?" I was like, "I don't know. She looks kind of young." And then he was saying, and then Thomas Rhett here, I was like, "All right, whose birthday is it?" And the girls we were looking at were like, "It's her birthday. She's 16. It's her birthday."
Immediately.
And we all had the same look at each other like, "Oh my God." But that's his crowd. That's who he plays to.
Yeah.
The teen country generation.
That's...
And if you're into that, this album is for you. I am not a teen country generation.
You're not?
Surprise, surprise. I am no longer in that demographic. For a while now.
For a little bit.
Anyways.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this is, like I said, this is the Thomas Rhetts. Everything on this album sounds like it should be a boy band song. In, the most boy band sense of the word. But it's just him singing. And it gets the point across. It's for someone. Not for me. But it's definitely for someone. Moving on. Did you listen to anything else?
I did not, so let's move on.
Alright, so let's move on to video games as we speed into this wrapping up portion.
So yeah, this will be the big segment because we are mere days away from the big E3. That's the Electronic Entertainment Expo.
We are a mere DayZ
Yes.
away.
There's no new Daisy game.
No, there's not.
But yeah, that's upcoming. So big news this week because everybody's dropping smaller stuff so that way they can have their bigger drops this week.
I had bigger drops earlier today.
That's disgusting. Let's talk about new releases though before we go there.
New releases upcoming this week. We have MotoGP 19 for the PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC.
Yeah, do you like those MotoGP
We have
games?
Octopath Traveler for the PC.
Yeah, if you've been holding out on the PC version for some reason of that game, there you go.
And we have Dragon Star Vermeer for the PlayStation.
Don't know what that is, never heard of it.
Sorry, that's Varnier, not
Varnier.
Varnier.
Yeah.
Those R's and N's.
Yeah, cursing.
All right. That brings us to video game news, and
Yep.
we had no video game news.
No, that's not true.
Okay. This morning we had video game news. As we hyped it up last week, there's going to be a Pokemon Direct
Yes.
that happened this morning.
So yeah, I'm not sure what I expected, but I feel like what they actually showed at this thing was not what I expected them to show. I don't know. I just figured it was going to be like more like, here's like the story of this game, here's some more Pokemon, and here's the like new mechanics. Instead, they focus on like a couple of new mechanics and pretty much did nothing else.
I was expecting them to show the final evolutions.
But no,
I was expecting them to
didn't get
show
evolution trees,
a
we
little
didn't
bit
get-
more.
we didn't get a whole lot of world flavor.
Pokemon.
We got 3 Pokemon.
Yep.
Well, 5
5.
if you include the legendaries that will be on the box. And we got the new game mechanic.
Yes.
All right, so go into it.
All right. Reading the copy here. Pokemon Sword and Shield. Well, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield.
2 distinct games.
Yes, those will be the names of the upcoming Pokemon open world role-playing games detailed during
so
today's
they're
Nintendo
embellishing
Direct.
a little bit. I think what they mean that there will be portions of the game world that are open for you to join other players. This is not an open world Pokemon game in the way you're thinking.
Yes,
Or at least it's an open world in the way that the other Pokemon games have been open world.
well, let's just say don't hold your breath of the wild.
Ha ha. Very good.
Ah.
Very good.
But you can definitely see they're taking elements from Breath of the Wild into this. But, I mean, the Sword and Shield, as we noted before, will release on November 15th. I may be busy the next couple days after that playing
I
this
imagine,
game.
Yes.
Playing this game.
Not doing anything else
Nope.
important and life changing. No, of course not.
Nope.
That won't be a crazy week for you at all.
No, Pokemon is life-changing enough as it is.
Or me. I think it'll be busy for both of us, really, thinking about it.
May or may not be. Anyways, this new RPG from Game Freak will feature an open world in which up to 4 players
Yes.
can raid against giant wild Pokemon across the Galar region.
So I feel like I like Monkey's Pod last week when I was saying, man, they should do co-op in these Pokemon games, and I didn't realize while I was saying that the monkey's finger went down because they made that happen, but in the way I didn't want them to.
In the weirdest aspect of it.
Like they took something that's actually really trendy in game design right now and somehow brought it into a Pokemon game, which is a raid. So if you're unfamiliar with the term, it originates from MMOs, and what it basically means is getting a group of people instead of you just being on your own or soloing, as they
Solo
call
ground.
it in MMOs. But instead, getting you and a bunch of people together to face a common enemy. And in this case, those common enemies are Pokemon, but they're a different kind of Pokemon. Why don't you tell us what's up with these weird Pokemon?
Well, some of these Pokemon aren't even normal size.
Yeah.
Are
What are they?
They're Wailord size.
They're big.
They're huge.
They're huge.
Sorry. They're giant.
They're giant.
These are giant Pokemon.
Why are they giant?
Well, these giant Pokemon exist out in the wild and will require all 4 players to take them down.
Oh man, I just thought of another Twitter joke that I could have done this morning.
What'd you do?
I don't know, I said I didn't do, but I should have done.
Well, what should you do?
I should have done, they might be Pokemon Giants.
They might be
That would have
giants.
been good. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, they're so big, but why are
How
they big?
big are they?
What transformation have they gone under?
Well, players can also make their own Pokemon enormous with a phenomenon called Dynamics.
Dynamax.
Dynamics.
Dynamax.
Dynamics.
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 Dynamics makes it sound even more like a prescription drug. Dynamax.
I gotta give my Pokemon that Dynamax.
Yeah, Dynamax.
The Dynamics.
So yeah, it makes it big. This is this game's hook. You know, like how X and Y had Mega Evolutions.
Yes, which I actually liked.
Sun and Moon had Z moves.
Which I didn't use for both
I
of the
use all the time.
Oh, well,
You need to in the Pokemon League. Trust me.
I used
Oh
it
my
once when
God.
all my Pokemon had died. I'd use it. It's like take out their last person.
You can do one per battle. Why not use it? That's that was my logic.
My logic is that the animation takes way too long. I don't want to save the precious frames.
It does. But anyways. But this is this game's hook. Is like you can make these Pokemon big. And while they're big, they will have 3 Z moves at their disposal. Basically 3 superpowered moves.
Yes. This makes them massive in size and boosts their power, turning all their original moves into new power moves. However, a player's Pokemon will return to normal size after 3 turns. So you kind of need to use all 3
Quick,
moves.
yeah.
In these max raid battles against giant Pokemon, only 1 player out of 4 will be able to Dynamax their Pokemon, which adds to an element of strategy to the battle. You can only make 1 of your Pokemon supersized, Megazord sized.
So yeah, you can imagine situations where you have to be like, you're on the couch with 2 of your other friends, and you'll be like, "Hey, man, it's my turn. It's my turn to make my Sobble giant. Well, my giant ass Sobble."
Yeah. Well, I figured you'd use more of your supports would be, or you get. Oh, that's great. Only 1 person would be a support.
Yeah.
1 person would be your tank.
Yeah,
One person would be your healer.
It's a really interesting dynamic since up to this point there haven't been really a battle system in Pokemon that was 4 against 1 or like any team really against 1. They tend to discourage that.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting.
They don't want you to
see that
gang
kind of-
up on Pokemon.
But since they're wild Pokemon, I guess it makes some more sense.
Yeah.
The question is do you get to catch it? And if so, who gets to catch it? You all can't throw a Pokeball at it.
It looked like only the person who had the gigantic Pokeball would be able to throw it.
Gigantic Pokeball.
I don't know.
That's
They used
great.
the
I
Spirit
love it.
Bomb. They just went like, here,
Yeah.
Pokeball, Spirit Bomb,
Yo.
catch it,
It's
kill the
fascinating.
enemy.
But that's that was the big announcements. But they also had a bunch of little small stuff to share. Like I mentioned, they revealed a handful of Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
3 kind of wild Pokemon. One that looked like a flower. One that was
An Electric Crow, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was like I guess the taxi service in town. They also
It's your fly.
yeah, and they also put
They also finally revealed the
like a
legendaries.
well, that too, but a rock water turtle like thing.
Oh yeah,
And there was a third one. I'm forgetting. Oh, the sheep.
The sheep. The
Wooloo, which the internet is obsessed with now.
yes.
Cute, innocent Wooloo.
It's because everyone wants their Ampharos again.
They also yes, and then the 2 legendaries.
One is an actual. They're both wolves.
Both dogs, yeah.
Both wolves, as we kind of guessed by the logo.
One with a sword.
Well, one was a shield.
One is a shield.
One is a shield.
And the other has a sword.
Yes.
Cute. That's a good distinction, yes. Because, yeah, one of them's just holding the sword in their mouth the whole time. The other one, yeah, it's like main is a shield,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool.
But there's also a 3rd legendary that they showed.
Yeah.
Or didn't show.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like they were going to team up against the 3rd legendary of the region. But that one's a secret.
Secret.
Or, maybe it's just a different legendary, like Lugia.
We'll see
So
soon.
just flying over like, hey, this is actually a Kanto the whole time.
Yeah.
Plot twist.
And also, it looks like they did, I guess, in some of the footage, reveal that what the new, a couple of new characters in the game.
Yes, the professor is named Professor Magnolia.
Yeah, Magnolia, and it will be the 2nd female professor in the series. First, of course,
Ivy.
Professor Juniper back in
Juniper.
Black and White.
Yeah.
But this one, she's an older woman. It's the first time that they've had a female, like an older female professor. And then also, I guess, the professor's cousin or something, this girl who I guess is like your go-to like person with knowledge about the region, who's going to also help you out throughout the game.
Also, your rival.
Oh yeah, and they did reveal a rival.
They revealed your rival, who is also the Pokemon champion's little brother, which is
that's cute.
Cute. That's a good way to like storytell. You have to mesh your characters.
Yeah, that's a good way.
That's a good way to mesh your characters.
And then the last thing that I think is kind of interesting in a way is that they have confirmed this game will return to the traditional gym structure of Pokemon. So Sun and Moon, which was the kind of experimental
they had their
games in the
gimmicks.
series, which had the trials instead of gym battles. Well, forget that ever happened because they're going right back to gym battles.
Woo! Gym battles.
I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of wanted them to continue down the experimental road, but you know what? Fine. I guess I'll deal with another classic Pokemon.
Well, this being on the Switch and going to be most people's reintroduction or first introduction.
Or the game they play after Let's Go Pikachu, which also has gym battles.
Right. I think that's why they went back to gym battles.
Maybe. So yeah, there's still a lot of question marks here. There's still a lot of stuff we don't know about the game, kind of the nitty gritty. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see the road till November.
We'll get another. We'll definitely get another Pokemon Direct probably in September.
Yeah, sometime closer to the release.
Close to the release.
Yeah,
which is in November, so it's going to be a while.
I look forward to it because I'm on a huge Pokemon kick, as I kind of referenced a moment ago. I finished my Moon version finally, so I'm in the post game content of Moon now. There is post game content, and it's already stupid hard.
So I revived my 3DS because it was on a desert island. So I revived it, opened it up, and had my option of Mario or Pokemon. And just like I said, I went straight to Pocket Jockey. Well, first I updated because I had like 3 years worth of updating, and then went to Pocket Jockey.
I re-downloaded Pocket Jockey on my new 3DS last night.
Yeah.
So I'm ready. I'm set.
It's great.
It's small, thankfully, because they only... By the way, just a real quick, like I guess a buyer beware thing. I just want to tell people if they're not aware and they were thinking about upgrading their 3DS, which I don't know why you would do that in 2019. I'm an idiot. Don't do what I do. But I bought a 2DS XL, the newest model of the DS line. And I did the system transfer from my old one to the new one because I'm gifting my old one. And I didn't realize that between the original model and the XLs that they had switched from regular SD card to micro.
Okay.
I did not know that. So I was expecting just to pop one out and put it back in. Can't do that. There's literally no way to put in a full SD card into the new 2DS XL. So they warn you in the transfer. It's like, hey, yeah, this is not going to work. You either have to transfer things on a computer or upgrade the size of your micro SD card, because everything on here, it was a 16 gig card, could not transfer to the 4 gig micro SD in the system. So it was screwed. So that's why I had to re-download all my games, because those were the biggest files. So I have just enough room, literally just enough room, for Moon to be on there, and like a little bit of other stuff. I cannot have more than one full game on that thing with the card that they give you.
Yeah. Dark.
Yeah, it sucks. So yeah, one of the myriad reasons why I'm glad that they're slowly doing away with the DS line. But yeah, so that's just a buyer beware. Make sure if you buy a 2DS and you have a lot in your previous 3DS, buy a bigger micro SD card. Cool. Okay.
All right. Well, that sounds like a little bit of information.
Yes. We have a lot more bits to come.
With the bits.
Give me the bits.
All right. Here's some kibble and bits.
All right.
First up.
Like I said, a lot of small stories this week because video games are getting ready.
Yep. First up, Bungie is running a Destiny 2 reveal stream tomorrow morning.
So yeah, they're on their own now since they're no longer attached to Activision. So they figured, might as well do our own stream about our own updates for Destiny, and they're doing it right before the show. So yes, Thursday morning. That's, I believe, 10 a.m. Pacific time, so whatever that translates to your local time.
SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom is getting remade for the current generation consoles.
This goes for the weirdest story of the week. When I saw this, I was like, why?
Why?
There were lots of SpongeBob games from that era. That's the one I didn't play. So I have no idea why they chose this game. But yes, THQ Nordic, I guess, still has the rights to this because they bought up all the old THQ stuff. So yeah, I guess they're putting this back out.
Well, PlayStation 4 is getting an update to its party function with the addition of chat transcriptions and 16-player group chats.
Yeah, this is like, quality of life stuff, like for people who I guess are heavy users of the messaging platform, because this means nothing to most people.
No, this is trying to get people off of Discord.
Maybe.
But it's only 16, so, Watch Dogs Legion, which is the third installment of Ubisoft's Watch Dogs series, will take place in dystopian London and allow players to overtake any NPCs in the game.
Yeah, so this was the big reveal. It kind of leaked ahead of time, which is why the news was announced at all.
Yeah.
I think it was probably supposed to be saved for the press conference, but it leaked. But yes, this is Ubi's new big release, probably for the end of this year.
Watch Dogs
and yeah,
Legion.
that mechanic seems neat.
Watch Dogs _Legion?
I think it's just colon.
Yeah.
We
also have Google is holding its first ever Stadia Connect live stream tomorrow, Thursday at 9 a.m.
So yeah, right before you watch the Bungie thing, apparently you're going to tune in to watch whatever Google has to say about Stadia. They said that this will include big announcements, in their words, possibly games studios that they're working with, specifics. So we may know some of the big hard-hitting stuff from Google about the Stadia before developers come out and talk about it during the show.
Yeah. We also have Call of Duty, Modern Warfare announced.
Yes.
What year is it?
Not 2007, surprisingly enough. But yes, they're putting out a game called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. No numbers.
No.
It was just Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Not to be confused with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And not to be confused with Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered.
Yes, definitely not.
Both of those are games, and so is Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
So yeah, they're naming it Modern Warfare because they wanted to kind of acknowledge that the definition of what Modern Warfare has changed since the release of Modern Warfare.
Has it?
So what they're trying to...
Drones? Yeah.
Not really. But yes, but they're saying that basically that this will be a more serious tone. They're going to try to, in the campaign, they're bringing back campaign this time. They're going to try to make it reflect the horrors and complications of real modern war. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if they could pull it off. They have kind of a lame track record for that kind of thing.
I don't know if they can.
But we'll see. I mean, seems like the press reaction to the footage that they got to see has been pretty positive. People are, I guess, supportive that they're trying something new and mostly nailing the tone, at least in the footage that they saw. So we'll see when the whole game hits, whether they're able to stick the landing.
The early press talk is that it's more like the Call of Duty level No Russian, the video game.
Yeah, but I've also heard a little pushback from that as well.
Yeah.
It seems like that's they're doing it a little less ham-fistedly than something like No Russian.
Oh, I could go for some ham-fist right now.
Right, yeah.
But the last bit of bits of news before we get to food.
Yes.
Call of Duty is Apple TV users can now play games with Xbox One and PlayStation 4 controllers.
Yeah. So
it's a bit of an update.
If you have an Apple TV or you play a lot of games on your iPhone, I guess this matters to you. You'll soon be able to, via Bluetooth, hook up a Bluetooth-enabled PS4 or Xbox One controller. I say Bluetooth-enabled because, remember, a lot of Xbox One controllers are old technology and do not have Bluetooth in them.
Yep.
So heads up. But yeah, this is, I guess, finally Apple just succumbing to the fact that they will never actually release their own controller.
Hashtag sad.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to some thoughts. Do you have any thoughts?
I do. I'm playing really briefly a mobile game. It's called Flip Flop Solitaire.
Okay. What am I flipping and or flopping? Whose house?
So imagine Solitaire.
Is this a house of cards? Am I flipping or flopping?
No. Imagine Solitaire and Free Cell. What if you combine them?
Those are both card games, so I believe you get a card game.
And yes, you do definitely get a card game. But, it has the rules of Solitaire, kind of, where there's four spaces. There's no, homes that you can keep cards, like in Free Cell.
Right.
So it's, kind of like Solitaire. But it follows a lot of Free Cell rules, where, you can only move, certain, cards. You can't, you'll have situations where cards that don't belong will pile up on top of your cards, so you can't move them. There'll be situations like that, and there's also a mechanic where, hence the name Flip Flop Solitaire, you can go in either direction with the card stacks. So, for example, if you have a 7, you can put an 8 there as well as a 6.
But no, you're not supposed to go one way.
Nope, not in Flip Flop Solitaire.
What?
Flip Flop Solitaire gives you the freedom, I guess you could call it that, of going both ways.
Whoa!
You know what I mean.
This
You know
is
both
mind
ways.
changing.
So yeah, it's a neat game. So it's made by Zach Gage, who was the developer of Sage Solitaire, which was a game I may have actually talked about on this podcast
Yeah.
3 years ago or something. But yeah, it's currently I believe an iOS exclusive, just like Sage Solitaire still is. And yeah, it's a neat little solitaire game that I'm having a lot of fun with. The model is a little bit more designed for microtransactions, so it is free, and you can play the bulk of the game for free. But there are special modes from the start that you can only play with the paid version, where basically you pay $1.99 to unlock the whole thing. And there's also a mechanic, this is really cool, where every time you watch an ad, you get a stamp that goes towards playing one of the special modes. So, say if you watch 5 ads, which the game makes you, you unlock one round of one of the games that are usually locked. It's a neat kind of first one's free kind of approach that'll get you oh, I like that thing. I may actually pony up the $2 and just have that forever. It's a cool game with a lot of cool hooks. I'm having fun with it. And yeah. That
Sounds
exists.
good.
Yeah. It's not super new. I think it came out earlier this year.
Okay, but it finally came across your
Yes.
your eyes.
I finally realized I could download a game at work because there's certain things that are blocked at work. So I wasn't sure if I could download things from the App Store. Turns out you can.
Hey!
All right. So yeah, with that, we can wrap. I think we need to wrap up the video games segment with a lightning round version of a tradition here at the Media Boat Podcast. We need to do some real quick predictions for E3.
All right, quick E3 predictions. First one, the big one. Microsoft will announce a new console.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. How much they will show of it, who knows? I think this will be probably similar to the pre-name Xbox One X thing that they did.
Oh, Xbox Scorpio.
Where they called it Scorpio, and they just had a bunch of developers saying, hey, it does this cool thing, and I like it. I bet that's what we see.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah, I think because it's probably still too early to see games, so I think that's what they'll do.
All right, what do they name this? Project Cancer?
I mean, if it has a
Project Ares?
a project name, we would have already heard it.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
the thing. So it has to be. They'll have to call it something that we haven't heard before.
Well, let's see. They have the Xbox 360, Xbox One. What's another Xbox?
I heard
Solo?
a podcast. I forget who to give credit for this to, but somebody was saying since it's Halo Infinite, maybe it's Xbox Infinite,
I believe
which would be a good name.
Yeah.
So there's that, or just Xbox.
Well, that maybe. Wait, is this the 8th generation? Maybe. I feel like it is. Just take the generation 8, just turn it sideways.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be smart. If they were smart,
They won't.
no,
It won't be Xbox Infinite, but it would be cool. But yeah, so they'll show that. They probably also will announce some more acquisitions, because last year's show they made a bunch of announcements about acquisitions.
Yes.
I think there'll be a big one that they probably held on till this year.
I
I
don't know,
imagine a big Japanese developer.
I don't know. They've been making announcements,
That's the
or
settle
we've
button,
been
at least.
we've been reporting on announcements that they've been adding more studios since last E3.
Yeah, word on the street is it will be a big Japanese developer of some sort. So maybe a Capcom
Yeah,
could happen.
maybe. Konami. I'd go with Konami.
Maybe Konami's games division.
Yeah, I'd go with Konami since
That
they
could also
they
happen.
lost Hideo Kojima.
Yeah,
I can see them
they're
just
not
doing
really
straight
making
good
games
job, yeah.
anymore. Yeah, that could happen. Anyways, anything else from Microsoft? They'll show Halo Infinite in some form.
They'll show Scalebound.
No, Scalebound's dead.
No, Scalebound's alive.
No, it's not.
Although I think it's going to be we worked for a Switch game instead.
No, then they wouldn't show it on Microsoft show floor now, would they?
Yeah.
They'll announce some sort of partnership with Nintendo. Whether that means Game Pass is coming to Switch or not, who knows? But I believe you will see somebody from Nintendo on stage, and they'll announce some sort of crossplay thing.
Right.
I can imagine that. Xbox Live on Switch kind of thing. Because it's already on the Minecraft on Switch. So I imagine that will happen. Other than that, though...
I think they're going to try and go more towards the exclusives route.
Yeah, they already said ahead of the show 14 new Microsoft Game Studios games, which means either things they're developing or things they're publishing.
Right.
So yeah, could definitely have a lot of that stuff.
Anything else from Microsoft?
That's the big
new
ones.
Connect? No.
No. It'll be... Oh, and maybe a mention about their streaming stuff.
Oh.
Maybe
yeah.
at least a plan to get out in front of Stadia and be like, hey, this is what we're doing.
Probably.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty good show. I predict that Microsoft will be the most entertaining show, and I think they will make the most headway.
That would be, except Square Enix is also going to be there.
Or do you just want to talk about them now too?
Yeah, because they're going to have to give some sort of Final Fantasy VII news.
Square has to talk a lot about Final Fantasy.
So they have Final Fantasy.
There's probably a DLC announcement for Kingdom Hearts.
Yes. They're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts Remind.
Yeah.
DLC. Their only paid DLC that they've announced or they've hinted at.
That has to be there.
That has to be there. They're going to talk about the next thing they're doing with Tomb Raider. And
they're pretty much said that they're done with Tomb Raider, or at least taking a break after the last one didn't perform. What they do have, though, and what they'll probably close the show with, is Avengers.
Yeah, that's what I was
Their
going to go
Avengers
with.
game is the big thing.
That's what I was going to go with.
Early leaks suggest that thing is a Destiny-like live game.
Yes.
That will be multiplayer online and will be a continuing event-based thing where you potentially create a superhero. Yes.
Yes,
That
that's
is the
going to be
leak.
the interesting thing.
Yeah.
If you're able to create a superhero, or if you just take
can't
control.
have a live game where everyone is Iron Man. You have to create a superhero.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I can't be part of the Iron
No.
Legion?
Well,
I believe you could.
Maybe.
I can see that happening.
Okay, maybe that's a class.
Yes.
That's a class of superhero. You can be an Iron Legion.
You can be a part of the Iron
Yeah,
Legion.
but there's probably other classes there. You have to have your Spider-Man equivalents. You
I
have
know.
to have your... Actually, I don't know if you have your Spider-Man equivalents because that's a
Sony thing.
still. in the video game
Supposedly,
world.
Marvel wants a Marvel gaming universe, and that Sony Spider-Man was the first step in that.
So yeah, I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
What else for Square? Probably nothing for a new. Maybe maybe a Switch Final Fantasy. I see them doing something like that because it's too early for 16.
No, it's not. They're not doing 16.
Yeah.
They have to get 7 out before they start talking about the next thing.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of that.
If we get so the early report was that Final Fantasy VII was going to be episodic.
Right.
I hope
that's
we get
still the case.
See if that's still the case, and if we get a date for that first episode.
I think it'll have to be dated. I think they have to put a date out.
Yeah.
Anything else for Square?
I don't think so. Other big developers at the conference is EA.
Let's talk about EA.
No Grand Theft Auto. I don't care what any of you guys say online.
That's 2K anyways.
Huh?
That's 2K.
Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah. That's Rockstar.
Wait, what are we talking about?
EA.
Oh, EA.
EA. So they won't be having a press conference per se, but they'll be doing streams as part of their EA Play.
They will definitely be mentioning the FIFA World Cup going on.
So yeah, there'll be stuff
and
about
there'll be stuff for FIFA.
They've confirmed that they'll talk a lot about the Star Wars game.
Yes. They revealed that Star Wars game.
Visceral.
Yes.
Is it Visceral?
It's Visceral.
What's the studio working on that?
It's Visceral.
Whatever that Star Wars game, they put the name out in May.
Yes.
That thing will be talked about at length, I'm sure. That'll be their big push.
Yeah, that's got to be.
I think
watch them talk around Anthem and probably not bring it up.
So Anthem is not slated for the streams.
I know.
Which has a lot of people talking about like that being a separate thing that they'll do outside of the show. So yeah. So it looks like no Anthem. They said something about there will be downloadable content stuff for Battlefield 5. Still, because they're keeping that thing alive.
Yeah.
What else?
EA's
in a weird spot because I feel like their big push with Anthem didn't work.
No.
So they have to. I guess Star Wars is the next big thing for them.
Star Wars is the next thing, aside from their regular sports. Maybe we get a Madden cover.
Yeah, we might have somebody walk up and talk about Madden.
Maybe. I mean, Madden cover is usually more towards the beginning of the football season.
Yeah.
But
get that news
we may get that news eventually.
All right. What else? So let's move out of EA and talk about. Well, 2K doesn't have a show.
Ubisoft, as we mentioned, they're gonna have Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs is they're talking a lot about Watch Dogs. I'm sure they will probably
new Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed is on a break, actually, so they will not be talking about Assassin's Creed this year. They said that. Assassin's Creed will be talked about next year prior to its release. Also on a break this year is Far Cry. We will not hear anything about a new Far Cry game.
But there's Far Cry DLC going on, maybe.
Well, because the weird thing is that last thing was not a full game.
Right.
So probably not.
Okay.
I would imagine no Far Cry, no Assassins. So you're talking about a lot of empty space. Rumors are pointing towards Splinter Cell being revived. That could happen.
Yeah, or Rainbow Six.
They've also got that new Ghost Recon game.
Ghost Recon. Wildlands.
To talk about. The sequel to Wildlands.
Sequel to Wildlands, yes.
They announced it earlier this year, but yeah, they'll talk more about it, I'm sure. Also, maybe they have somebody at Nintendo come up and maybe it's a sequel to Mario and Rabbids.
Already a sequel?
Oh yeah, it's been a couple years now.
Has it?
Yes.
What?
That was an early Switch game.
That wasn't last year?
2017.
That wasn't last year?
It was not last year. That was 2 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're due for a Rabbids sequel. So I could see that.
Maybe.
Other than
that, the only other thing I can think of off the top of my head is Cyberpunk 77.
That's not Ubi.
No, not Ubi. I'm just talking about in general.
Just in general. That's CD Projekt Red. They'll probably be there talking about it.
That's the only other thing that I could think of that
I could see that
probably there.
being playable.
Right. And then there's Sony's...
Well, Sony's not at the show.
Not at the
can't
show.
Talk about them.
Okay. But they're doing their
show
own
gets ready
thing.
For the show. They don't have any scheduled things happening during the showtime either.
Don't they have a state of play?
No, not during the show.
I thought there was a rumor around they were going to...
They have not announced a thing.
That they were going to do a live stream during Microsoft's conference.
I think that was people trying to stir the pot.
Probably.
So yeah, then who's left after that? We got Ubi, we got EA, we got Microsoft. Yes, we got Square. So
if you're yelling at us through the whatever listening device,
cannot hear.
Please yell louder.
Instead. And then I guess that leaves Nintendo. So, Nintendo, I mean, they dropped the Pokemon stuff, so they won't really talk about Pokemon.
Nope.
Animal Crossing. Has to be there. They've got the new,
Yoshi's.
No, that came out.
That just came out.
Yoshi came out, so that's done. I could see them talking about...
New Sonic?
No, that's not them.
No, that's not that.
Well, Animal Crossing will be the big push. That'll be the focus. Also, Fire Emblem has to have a date. They haven't put that out yet.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like that's put out.
The Switch Fire Emblem has not been released.
Okay.
So there's that. They also have that a couple of games that they announced last year that have not come out yet.
Xenoblade 2?
No, that came out.
That came out? Okay, wow. I'm
You're
low in it.
Stuff.
I'm behind on this stuff.
Yeah. clearly.
Man, I feel like there's some place I could like watch it on a weekly basis that tells me what's going on.
Yeah, almost. There's plenty of those. But yeah, they also have... So those games, I forget what they are. There was one that was like a... shoot. They announced a couple of games. I guess they weren't interesting to me, so I did not pay attention to them. We won't see Metroid because it had to be rebooted.
Yeah, just start over.
So we
hit
won't
the
see
reset
Metroid
button
Prime
on
yet.
that.
That'll be next year. But yeah, so there's some question marks for sure. Oh, Luigi's Mansion 3. They'll probably talk about. That'll be a Switch game this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of question marks with Nintendo. And of course, the pie in the sky one is, do they announce some sort of other Switch model that, like, maybe a cheaper one that they've been hinting at for a while? Like, there's been rumors about a cheaper Switch, so that could happen.
Maybe they talk more about their online.
Yeah, or like what they plan on doing, like more than NES games for their Virtual Console. Maybe they announce Super NES games.
I saw one piece of news hoping that they expand their Virtual Console.
I hope so. If they put Super NES games on there, man, I'll be thrilled.
Right.
So that'd be great. All right, I think that's it.
That's a lot we covered.
So yeah, we'll all see if this pans out next week. We'll do probably a huge video game centric thing next week for E3 wrap up. But until then, that's it.
We're done.
We're done.
Oh, we're done. Plug away
We're done with
here.
the Media Boat podcast. If you liked what you heard, we are live every Wednesday night at around 6:30 to 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. Just go on to youtube.com, search Media Boat Podcast, and you'll find our page. Like it, subscribe to it, click that bell, and you'll get you'll get notifications when we go live. If you want to hear us on audio, you can also listen to our podcast. We're on most podcast services, including, I guess, the formerly known iTunes Store, known as Apple Podcasts. Search Media Boat Podcast on there, and you'll find us. Also, any RSS feed-driven thing, a podcatcher that you've got. Just search Media Boat Podcast, and you'll find us there, too. You can also find us on the everlasting internet if you want to see us on social media. Twitter, we're at Media Boat Cast. On Facebook, we're Media Boat Podcast. Just find our page by searching our name. On twitch.tv, we're twitch.tv/MediaBoat when we play video games. Every once in a while we'll play a game for you, so stay tuned. And on patreon.com/MediaBoat is where you can support us. Running this show does cost money. We do have to pay hosting fees for hosting this podcast. So please, if you can, please consider helping us out on Patreon. You can donate as little as $1 a month, and even that amount of money helps us make this a way better experiences for us and for all our listeners. So please, try to donate if you can. Patreon.com/MediaBoat. If you also want to make suggestions, ask us questions, send an email over to MediaBoatPodcast@gmail.com. I get notifications on my phone, so I will see an email as soon as you send it. So please, send an email over there if you have any questions, comments, corrections, whatever you want to do. Except don't correct us because we're never wrong.
No, never wrong. Never.
Never.
That's not even a correction.
We've never got a single thing wrong with this podcast. Everybody knows that. All right, that'll be it for this week. So we will talk to you guys next week in our exhaustive post-E3 episode of Media Boat Podcast.
Next week is all E3. We're going to have probably an X-Men review. We're going to have a couple more albums to review. Wow.
Things, man.
We're going to big show next week.
So get ready.
Big show in the summer.
All right, see ya.
All right, thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye. Whew.
All right, we're done here. Turn this off.